Hi everyone, my name is Sarah. I am one of the fund managers here at the Student Life Business Office. In today's tutorial, we will go over the tournament and competition reimbursement request procedure. I will show you the form you will have to fill out in order to receive a reimbursement, and we'll go over a quick example. I'll go over the documents that are required to be submitted through the form, and we'll also go over a timeline in order to receive your reimbursement. To go over some of the guidelines for tournament competition reimbursement requests, individual student organization members are going to be reimbursed individually depending on their paid expenses and also depending on the approved maximum funding. Each of the student organization members who are going to be reimbursed are required to be registered in Payment Compass. And keep in mind that for all tournament competition reimbursement requests, an approved funding source is going to be required. And the main sources of funding that we manage here at the Student Life Business Office for tournament competition are going to be AS funding and Triton Community and Competition funding. So this is what the process will look like after you have received your approved funding source for your tournament competition. No later than 14 days before the tournament, you are going to submit the reimbursement request form on our website, and you'll use that form to submit all of the required documents, and we'll go over that a little bit later when I show you the example. This gives your fund manager enough time to do the initial processing and reach out to your org for any additional information. No later than 14 days after your tournament, if any additional documentation after the tournament is required, you'll have 14 days to work with your fund manager on that, and your reimbursement request will be processed after all required documents have been submitted to our office. So to get to the tournament and competition reimbursement form, you will go ahead and go to our website, slbo.ucsd.edu. If you go over to the Fund Management tab, click Student Organizations, it'll bring you to our Student Organization Resources page. And if you scroll down, you'll go ahead and see the Tournament Competition Procedure module. Go ahead and click More, and it'll bring you directly to the resources page that you can use as a reference for any questions about the tournament competition reimbursement procedure. Scroll down, go ahead and click Submit a Request, and it brings you directly to the reimbursement request form. This form applies to both in-person and virtual tournament competitions, and it applies to only registered student organizations who have an approved funding source for their tournament. For any questions about the form, you can go ahead and contact your fund manager or visit our drop-in hours. Section A is going to be the basic information about your student organization. You'll just go ahead and fill out the student organization name. And for the group leader should be one person from your student organization who will be filling out this form. And this person is also going to be responsible for collecting all of the required documents that are going to be submitted through this form as well. Section B is going to be for funding information. If you have more than one funding source, you can go ahead and check multiple boxes. At least one funding source is going to be required for all tournament and competition reimbursement requests. If you have another source of funding other than AS funding or Triton Community and Competition funding, you can go ahead and check the last box and input the name of the funding source. And regardless, whatever funding source you have been awarded, your fund manager will go ahead and verify this. For the maximum funding amount, you will put the total combined amount of funding that you have been awarded. So if it's just one funding source, just go ahead and put that total. But if you have more than one funding source, just go ahead and put the combined total. Section C is going to be for more information about your tournament and competition. Go ahead and input the name. For the purpose, you can go ahead and input a description of what will be happening during the tournament. The next question is going to be for if this was a virtual tournament. There are different requirements for each one depending on if it's virtual or in person, and you can go ahead and scroll over the fields to fill out for more information on how exactly to fill it out. So section D is for pay information for tournament competition participants who will be requesting reimbursement. This is where the group leader will have to work with their student organization members in order to collect all of the required information. And this is also where I'll be showing you an example of how to fill out this form. So the first thing that you'll do is you'll go ahead and download the pay information form, which is provided in the description. Through this form, you will complete the payee information and expense type breakdown for all of the participants who are going to be requesting reimbursement. So as an example, let's say that my student organization was awarded a total of $1,500 from AS funding to go to a dance competition. There are a total of 12 participants who will be attending the dance competition and participating. However, there are only 8 students in my group that will be needing a reimbursement. Through the payee information form, this is where I will be detailing which students are going to be requesting reimbursement using our approved AS funding of $1,500. Keep in mind that all participants who are noted on this form will need to be registered in Payment Compass in order to receive their reimbursement. Let's say I'm the group leader who is filling out the form. As a group leader, I also paid for registration for myself, and I also paid for the group insurance. So in the first line, I'll go ahead and put my name, I'll enter my UCSD email, and then for the expense type breakdown, I will just go ahead and go to the registration box and input the total amount for registration that I paid. Since I also paid for insurance, I'm going to enter $50, and you'll see that the total amount paid at the very end is going to auto-calculate. For the rest of the 7 students that are going to be requesting reimbursement as well, I'm going to input their name and their UCSD email and do the same expense type breakdown for just the items that they have paid. For the expense type breakdown that I'm entering for each student, keep in mind that all of the receipts will have to be provided, and each of the totals on this expense type breakdown should correspond with the totals on their receipts. Now, once I'm done entering the expense type breakdown for all of the 8 students, you'll see that the total amount paid by the group is $1,650. Remember that my AS funding was only $1,500, and it looks like my group spent $150 over our AS funding. It is completely okay if the total amount paid by the group is over your AS funding. The expense type breakdown filled out through this form is just to let your fund manager know how much each student individually paid. And we'll go into more of a breakdown of how the reimbursement will be split after we fill out this form. Once you're done filling out this form, go ahead and save it onto your computer. If you go back to the tournament competition online form, there will be a section where you can upload the pay information form. The next question is where you'll indicate to your fund manager how your organization would like the reimbursement split based on the number of members on the pay information form. So as an example, if out of my 8 students and the $1,500 in AS funding, we would like the reimbursement split equally among the members, I will go ahead and choose the first option for equal reimbursement. And if you would like a modified reimbursement split among the participants listed in the pay information form, you and your fund manager will be working together to determine the breakdown. Section E is for additional tournament and competition participants. In my example, remember that there were a total of 12 participants, including me, but only 8 of us needed the reimbursement. So the remaining 4 is where I will indicate in section E who those people are. There are 2 options for noting this information. You can go ahead and type the names of the additional participants directly into the text box, or you can attach a file of a list of those participants. The next question asks if there are any UCSD students who will be driving other UCSD students to the tournament. Depending on what your answer is, go ahead and select one of the choices, yes or no. If it's yes, you will be required to provide a list of the names of those student drivers, and your fund manager will be following up with you for more information on that. Section F is where you will upload all of your receipts. Make sure to upload the receipts in PDF format, and keep in mind that there is a file size limit to 2 megabytes per file. But also there's no limit on the number of files that you can attach. There are separate sections for uploading the receipts, the certificate of event liability insurance, the group waivers, and the registration confirmation. So go ahead and upload the corresponding documents in each section. The last section is for the group leader signature. Go ahead and acknowledge both statements. Go ahead and provide your signature in the text box. And you'll also have the option to add any additional comments or notes that you want your fund manager to receive once you submit this form. Once everything looks good, go ahead and click continue. You'll have one last chance to review your submission and go back if you need to edit anything. Once everything looks good, go ahead and do a final submit. The group leader will go ahead and receive a submission confirmation by email to the email that they provided on the reimbursement form. Your fund manager will also be in contact with the group leader if any additional documentation or information is required for your reimbursement request. And again, once all of the required information is collected and submitted, your tournament competition reimbursement request will be processed after your tournament and competition. If you have any additional questions about the tournament and competition procedure, you can go ahead and visit our website at slbo.ucsc.edu and visit our tournament and competition resources page. Thank you so much for watching our tutorial, and we look forward to working with you soon.